Okay, we're at the center back seam now and we're ready to insert the zipper. Now before you insert the zipper, I would go get this fitted to make sure it fits you exactly. And then afterwards, we are going to finish this raw edge down the center back seam on both sides. So what I have done here is from the inside, I've just pinned the facing and secured it towards the inside so that it doesn't flap up and that it's aligned to the top where the seam is. And we're just gonna serge. And when you serge, the notch can come off, but you're not gonna cut off anything else. You're gonna do that to both sides. So using stitch selector B, go ahead and serge both sides, and also I'm keeping the blade on so that I can just trim off any of the excess thread. So there, the notch is coming off, but nothing else should get cut off because it's sized to fit you now. It's a little thick, so I'm gonna lift up the presser foot and then lower it. Okay, that step just ensures that the center back seam is finished before we go ahead and insert the zipper. So now we're ready to put in the zipper. So we're first going to use, for this project, I'm using an invisible zipper. So the first step is we are going to iron the zipper teeth so that the zipper teeth kind of fold away from the zipper tape. Okay, we're ready to apply our zipper, but before we can do that, here's my invisible zipper, and we want to make sure that the zipper teeth are pressed away from the zipper tape. So we're going to just roll it back like so that when you stitch, you can get even closer to the teeth so that the zipper, when it's zipped, you won't see it from the outside. Okay, so I'm just gonna start from here. Let me zoom in a bit here so you can see. And you don't wanna leave it on your zipper for too long, but with the tip of your iron, I'm just pushing this outward. So the zipper tape is kind of like rolling away from the zipper teeth. Okay, and then we're going to do this on the opposite side as well. Again, don't leave it on for too long because the teeth are plastic, so it will melt and warp if you leave it on for too long. But if you slide it like at this pace, it should be okay. Okay? And then to just test that you ironed it correctly, if you zip it up, if the zipper tape kind of turns in on itself like so, then you know that you did it correctly. So I have my skirt laid out now. This is the back side. This is the center back seam where we're going to put in our zipper. So here's my invisible zipper. I have it opened, and then we're going to put it face down on the right side of the fabric. So I have it face down. We're gonna first start off with the right side of the tape when it's face down and the left side of the garment. So to start off, I'm going to actually turn this zipper tape downward just to where the teeth start. And I'm gonna angle it slightly back like so. So when we sew it down, the zipper tape doesn't stick out of the zipper seam. Okay, so holding it just like so, zipper teeth are at the way top. I'm gonna grab the left side of my skirt back and I'm going to align it to the top of the seam like this. Okay, and I'm gonna just put a pin in here. So the top of the zipper teeth should align up with the top of the skirt. Okay, and then I'm just positioning it so that the zipper teeth are 5/8 away from the edge. If you want to grab your seam gauge, you can go ahead and measure that just to double check that you're sewing this at a 5/8 seam allowance. Okay, so I went to grab my seam gauge. I'm just measuring this, and it should be 5/8 away. Okay, I'm going to continue pinning 5/8 away from the raw edge here, so the zipper teeth should be 5/8 away from the serged edge. Okay, and for this, I'm just going to put my pins in like this, running parallel to the zipper teeth. And just down to the zipper stop. Okay, so just like this. All right, now we're gonna move over to the machine to go ahead and start sewing it with the zipper presser foot, which is this one over here. It's number 4. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to presser foot number 4. And then with this presser foot, you really have to remember to move your needle position, otherwise it's going to hit this metal piece and it's gonna break your needle. So it depends on how your zipper is placed, but I'm gonna first insert it underneath the presser foot, and then I'll determine which side I need to move my needle position to. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in, and I wanna line it up so that the stitching is gonna fall right next to the zipper teeth. Just readjust this so you can see. Okay, so just like this, your zipper teeth should be really close to this left edge of the presser foot, and then your needle's gonna go to the far left. So make sure you move that to the far left. Okay, and then I'm gonna insert my needle just by turning the hand wheel, just to make sure it's positioned correctly before I go ahead and start sewing. Okay, I'm just gonna remove this pin before I cross it, and you're gonna sew as close as you possibly can to the zipper teeth without sewing on top of them. I'm gonna back stitch to the top. It's getting stuck, so I'm gonna just put this way down. Okay, and again, you'll notice I'm sewing very, very close to the zipper teeth, but I'm not sewing on top of them. If that happens, your zipper will not pull up because it's gonna get caught on the stitching. Okay, and then when you reach the zipper pull, you can't sew around this. So you're just gonna go as far as you can until it starts to like almost touch it. Now I'm just gonna backstitch. So don't go past that zipper pull, because then the stitching's gonna look kind of crooked right there because it can't work its way around this metal piece. Okay, so backstitch, take this out, and we're gonna go ahead and pin the other side now. Okay, so you can see now that the zipper is attached to the left side. We're gonna now go ahead and pin the zipper to the right side. So we're gonna take the zipper and we're gonna turn it to the right, so clockwise, and then turn it a little bit more so now the zipper is face down like this. Okay, so again, I have rotated it this way. So your zipper teeth should be, again, 5/8 away from the serge edge. And at the top here, just like last time, I'm gonna tuck this in slightly at an angle and pin it to the top. Make sure it's aligned at the same spot as the other one so that they zip evenly, and then the top edges are aligned. Okay, and then just go ahead and pin downward. And again, if you want to take your seam gauge and just double check that this is 5/8 away, you might want to do that just to ensure that you're sewing it at the right seam allowance. Okay, now we're ready to sew this side. Okay, because we are sewing the other side now, the right side, we're gonna move our needle position to the opposite side. So all the way to the far right. Okay, and I'm actually gonna turn my skirt inside out because it's easier to sew that way. There we go. Okay, so here's this side here, and I'm gonna position it under the needle. So now the zipper teeth is aligned with the needle, which is to the far right, and then it's the zipper teeth should be on the right side of the presser foot. So I'll zoom in so we can get a closer look here. Okay. So I'm going to remove this pin and just start off sewing and backstitch. Tends to get stuck here because it's so thick, so I'm just helping it along. There we go. And again, you're sewing as close as you possibly can to the zipper teeth without sewing on top of them. About to hit this, so I can't sew around that. I'm just going to backstitch and remove it from my machine. Okay, my zipper's sewn in now, and now I've turned it right side out, and I'm just going to zip it up just to make sure everything sewed correctly, and the top edges are aligned, and the zipper tape should barely be visible in the seam. Okay, so now the last step is we're gonna go ahead and sew the bottom of the seam. We still need presser foot number 4, so don't remove that from your machine. And what you're gonna do first to pin it is you're gonna turn your skirt wrong side out. Okay, then you're gonna grab the rest of the seam allowance and you're gonna pin it. So you wanna make sure that this is out of the way as you pin the rest of the seam. And I'm just putting my pins in towards the cut edge now. Lining up the raw edges here. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and sew. Now make sure that this zipper tape is not pinned into the seam because you don't wanna sew this into the seam. Okay, now we're back to the machine and I'm just going to insert this in and determine if my needle placement's correct for how I wanna sew it. So again, I'm gonna put it in like this. So both raw edges are over here. You want the zipper tape out of the way. You're gonna slide it in underneath the zipper foot. And I'm gonna insert it just slightly above where the previous stitching ended. So about right here. And I'll zoom in so you can see that. Okay, so you can see the previous stitching ended about right here. So I'm putting my needle slightly above it right there. Okay, and then my needle is still to the right, so that's a good position because you wanna sew really close to where the previous stitch was. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew, backstitch, and just make sure that this is out of the way as you're sewing. You're going to continue down at a 5/8 seam allowance. Okay, and let's see how it looks. So here it is from the inside. I can go ahead and clip my threads now. Make sure everything looks okay here. You can go to the iron now, and when you go to the iron, you want to press the seam open and flat. So just like this. Okay, but let's check it before we iron it. So I'm going to turn it right side out just to make sure there's no puckers or gaps in the stitching at the base of that zipper. Okay, so here it is. Looks good. You can't really tell where the zipper stitching ended and then the new seam began. So that looks good, and there's no gaps in the stitching. Okay, and the zipper opens and closes easily, ending right where the new stitch started.